All right. Peace, peace, family. This brother K. I'm coming back at you again. I just like to thank everybody for tapping in and tuning in with me out here in the province, Philippines. You know, this story right here, I just feel like it's worthy of being told. And I knew one day I was going to tell it, and I just thought the day that I would take this time out to tell my story. And the world needs to know how a spiritual community saved me from cancer. Yeah, that's right. Well, around 1972, I started smoking cigarettes. Right after I finished high school. You know, really, I really thought that I was grown. You know, when you get out of high school, you're now grown and you want to start doing the things that you see other people do. And even I was influenced by my parents. I seen them smoking cigarettes. And I just knew one day I wanted to smoke a cigarette. So at this time, how you, young Bluggy? Yeah, that's a family of friends of mine. So after I graduated out of high school, in about 1972, I was working at a Pick and Pay supermarket
The Bluetooth device is connected
on Euclid Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. As soon as I would get out of school, I would go to my job, work about 4 or 5 hours after high school, change my clothes, and I would go home. So I worked there all together. Before I graduated, I was working there about 3 years, and then after I graduated, I may have worked there maybe about another 3 years. But I knew I needed more money to do the things that I wanted to do. So maybe around in 1974, 75, maybe something like that, I started working at Republic Steel. Started working at a steel mill down on Dilling Hill in Broadway. And this was a whole nother new experience for me. This place here was full of toxins, pollution, chemicals, acid, dust, everything that you can name and imagine that would be detrimental to your health. So I began smoking cigarettes. And one of the worst and one of the most strongest cigarettes that you can smoke was Cool or Marlboro or something like that. But I had started smoking cigarettes. And after I had got in, well, actually, to tell you the truth, if I remember correctly, even when I was working at Pick and Pay, I was smoking cigarettes. I started smoking cigarettes. Even before I had started at the steel mill. Yeah, I was. And so after I started working at the steel mill, I already had been into smoking cigarettes about a half a pack a day. About 3 years. So once I started working at the steel mill, about 2-3 years into the steel mill, I was actually almost up to a pack a day. Because the steel mill was very stressful. It was very dangerous, very unhealthy. And so I began working there. I became an overhead crane operator at the steel mill. And as time went on, I started to realize that something was happening in my body, my chest. My chest wasn't feeling well, wasn't feeling good in my body. Certain chest pains and everything I was starting to experience. And so I attempted to quit. And as a matter of fact, I can remember about 3-4 times I attempted to quit smoking cigarettes. The first time it may have lasted about 3 months. The second time I think I may have lasted about 5, 6, 7 months. Then going back. And then the third time I kept trying. I just want to say that I think cigarette tobacco is one of the most terrible drugs and addictions that anyone could try to get over. I would even compare it to heroin and cocaine, alcohol. Yeah, that's right. And so on my third attempt, Brother K went, I even went a year or more. I remember it was about a year. I actually quit smoking cigarettes. And I still could tell that even after a year, when I would see someone smoking a cigarette, it still made me want to desire to smoke a cigarette. And then you also know when you get finished eating, that's when you want a cigarette the most. After you get through eating, and the cigarette even tastes better. It tastes so much. It tastes so good after you get through eating. So anyway, I ended up going back after 1 year. Returning back to smoking cigarettes after 1 year. And so I just had made it up in my mind that I was addicted. I wasn't going to be able to kick this habit. And whatever was coming, whatever had to happen was going to happen. I was going to enjoy my cigarettes. I was convinced I couldn't do it. And then, out of nowhere, and I know it was God that said that I'm not going to let this happen to you. It sent me a spiritual community out of Israel. They had set up in Cleveland, Ohio, and I found out about the meetings that they were attending, and I ended up going to the meeting. And the influence of the culture and the people, the beauty, the strength that I seen, it was so inspiring. It was something that I had never ever experienced or seen in my life. And some of the things, some of their laws with no eating meat, no drugs, no bad habits like cigarettes, anything that was detrimental to your health, they didn't do. And that was just what I needed. But it was another source of strength with this community, especially in the men. I seen a vibrant, clear countenance, clear eyes in the men. And I had told myself that this is the way I want to be. So I started to hang around this community, and that gave me strength. Every time that I would get weak, I felt an urge to go back to those cigarettes. I would go around the community. I would go to the house and I would sit there and I would be there because I knew that that was something that they just didn't do. And so over a period of time, years went by. I found myself, I had overcame the cigarette habit. I had kicked the cigarette habit. Can you imagine? If I was still working at Republic Steel with all the dust, all the acid, all the pollution, along with smoking the cigarettes, Brother K would certainly would be sick today on my deathbed. Certainly I would have cancer or some serious ailment from those cigarettes. So I just like to shout out to that spiritual community for actually saving my life. So I just wanted to share this story with your family. I just felt it was a need for me to say this. And I would just like for you to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, we know that peace means positive energy always creates elevation. Until next time, peace.